on Skype, and we will hopefully get things rolling here fairly quick. Um, Skype's been doing all sorts of fun stuff today. I don't really know why, but it is. I'm just not real sure what's going on here. So we are gonna attempt to join the call. Here's actually what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go in, and I'm going to just Skype this individual, I guess. See what happens here. We will see what we can see. Hopefully we can get our guest in here. We are, and I believe there he is. And Beny, can you hear us, my friend? I've got you. Can you hear us, my friend? Having a little bit of
Check.
There we are. I've got you. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, actually. We have had all sorts of interesting interviews today. We talked to a guy who called us from a federal prison earlier to do an interview, and now we have another great guest with us today. Beny, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Pretty good, actually. So tell us a little bit about your background, my friend. Tell me all about yourself.
All right. So I'm based in Toronto, also known as Tucker. Originally, I was born in Colombia.
Okay.
And I came as a child along with my parents.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today, a Colombian-Canadian, which is awesome. I have never heard of a Colombian-Canadian before, so this is pretty badass. So Beny, how did you get into the music business?
So I grew up in a family. And they did workshops. Met up with a cousin of mine who nominated for a Juno Award, and I began to go to his rehearsals, and in his rehearsals I met other musicians, and I began to kind of sit in, and that was school for me. That was where I happened, because I learned by watching all of these different musicians that were multi-instrumentalists as well.
That's fantastic.
As a percussionist at the age of 17. And then, the rest is history. Then I began to accompany poets, and I began writing my own poetry. I was eventually, I had my own project. I was nominated for a Juno Award. I produced 3 albums, which one of them I just recently released. So yeah, it all happened really early in my career, in my life.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's awesome that you've won some awards. Tell us a little bit about the reaction to the awards and when you knew you'd won some of these.
Yeah, well, in 2021, April 2021, I received a pretty prestigious award for Arts Educator of the Year, that was given by the Ontario Arts Foundation. And the reaction was great. The community was celebrating with me, and it opened a lot of doors. Now I'm a finalist and nominee for a community arts award for the work that I do in my community as a uh, leader of a mobile recording studio. We produce an album every year with different communities in the or neighborhoods in the community that have tensions amongst each other on a street level. So I'm being recognized for that work. And then the Juno nomination, that was in 2018. I was flown to Vancouver, where I was able to be at the ceremonies with my family, and I also got to meet amazing artists that were also there, and it just kind of made me reflect on my whole life, and to just put everything into perspective. All those rehearsals and all those lessons and all of that, little by little, those things add up, and it's because of those little details that I was able to be there to see me and my work being recognized.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. So, where do you get your inspiration from, my friend?
So this recent album was inspired by a prophecy, which is a prophecy called the Condor and the Eagle, or the Eagle and the Condor prophecy, where it says that at one point the eagle, representing the north, North America, Turtle Island, and the condor, which represents the south, because the condor only really exists in the south, in Latin America, Central America. The prophecy says that at one point they flew together, but eventually, when colonization took place and land began to be divided, the eagle flew to the north and the condor flew to the south. So the prophecy says that we're currently at a time where the two birds are going to fly together as the people of those territories begin to collectively awaken and return to their traditional ways of understanding their relationship with the land, with the stars, with the traditional instruments, with our traditional languages. And that prophecy is something that inspired my work. So in this album, there's collaborations with Indigenous artists from Canada, Indigenous artists from the United States, Indigenous artists from Latin America. And it's basically creating bridges amongst different musical traditions, different, artists, instruments, and all those different things. So that's one of the inspirations.
You have got just an amazing, amazing story. Tell us about this brand new album that you're going to be releasing this fall.
Yes, so the album is called Northside Kuisi, A New Tradition Volume 3. So the Kuisi is this flute right here. Let me show you. It's a flute, an indigenous flute from where I'm from, present-day Colombia, from the world's tallest coastal mountain. It's made out of charcoal and wax. The mouthpiece is the quill of a duck's feather, and the body is a cactus. And this is the instrument that has inspired a lot of the compositions in that album. So there's 14 tracks with about 5 different hidden tracks that are transitions. So it's a concept album, and it takes place in the distant future, where archaeologists dig up this flute, an indigenous hand drum, and a vinyl. And they dig up these artifacts, and then they begin to play the music, and they find the stories of their past, which is our present, circa 2020. And then each news report kind of introduces the tracks, right? So there's a track, for example, that deals with the present mass migration from the south to the north. The exodus that has been happening for so long. There are tracks that deal with environmental issues and talk about the pandemic. There are tracks that deal with social justice and indignation to a lot of the injustices that have been happening, and that was inspired by the Black Lives Matter protests after the killing of George Floyd. So all of these different news reports introduce each track. And there's over 55 different artists that are part of this album. Like I said, artists from Canada, from the US, from all parts of Latin America that came together to put together the music for this project. So it's something that I'm really proud of.
Fantastic. Well, tell us about this track we're going to hear here in a few moments. This is, I believe, Take Care. Tell us about this.
Take Care is the final track of the album, and in a way, it uses the traditional instrumentation that has influenced the melodies and the rhythms of the album. And it begins with this flute, with another flute that's like this, and the African instruments that are from the same region. So this music it represents the unity between indigenous musical traditions and African musical traditions that surfaced in the 16th century in Latin America. So this track, Take Care, incorporates or highlights these traditional instruments, but it also has DJ Grouch, who's a legendary turntablist from Toronto, also DJ Classic Roots, does some remixes in there with his MPC. And the whole message is for us to take care, but also it's saying goodbye because it's the last track of the album.
That is awesome. Well, we are going to play this. Thanks for doing this, brother. I really appreciated the time, and thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it as well.
Thank you, brother.
And also,
yes,
if anybody's interested in more information, you can go to the website, which is newtraditionmusic.com. New Tradition Music, all one word. And the social media is the same thing. Instagram is New Tradition Music. Facebook, New Tradition Music. Linktree, YouTube, it's all New Tradition Music.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Definitely. We're going to play the track. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you, sir.
You too. Peace and much love.
Appreciate it, brother. There he goes. And this is a fabulous, fabulous song, and it's right now. That is a pretty cool little song. We are going to take a time out. When we come back, we have got more coming up. It is the Sunday radio broadcast, 24 minutes after the hour, the second hour here on 990 WB.